We simply are not there. So that's one of the problems with part of this question. The sidewalk issue, I think Mr. Olive addressed the fact that there is no more sidewalk program and there's no more 50-50 program. So until those issues are addressed again in some fashion, we are basically going to remain where we are today. And anything that you want to do, we'll be happy to facilitate and expedite the permits if you would like to do the work yourself.
One point, if I could, on the sidewalks, again, we don't want to leave any unsafe conditions out there. So the best we're going to be able to do, and we will do it as quickly as we can, is come out and do an interim repair. And again, unfortunately, it's going to be hot asphalt for the most part. But in really bad situations, we have taken out that section of the sidewalks and replaced it in asphalt. So again, it's an interim, temporary mitigation measure, but we don't want to leave any trip and fall major hazards out there.
Can you, any of you address the issue of concrete versus asphalt and why one is used over the other, which one lasts longer, what the costs are, and how they're evaluated with regards to neighborhoods? In particular, I can give you an example that just this week, from Sherman Oaks Circle up to Sepulveda just about, there was concrete since 1928 that was just ground up and replaced with asphalt. I understand asphalt makes the sound of cars quieter than concrete, but the road didn't need a whole lot of work, quite frankly, and I would think there would be better use of services elsewhere. Talk about that and how the decision is made as to where a project is taken on and why. Who makes it happen?
Unfortunately, with the concrete streets that we do have in the city, we don't have the ability to pave concrete streets or repave concrete streets, if you will. We just don't have the equipment and the expertise to do that. So there's a number of areas. Hollywood Hills comes to mind in the Beechwood area that they don't want asphalt overlays, so there's really nothing we can do. The best we can do is patch up the worst areas, maybe dig up a section that's uplifted and a real hazard and replace that, but we just can't, in any significant volume, repave and concrete streets.
Because concrete is too expensive?
Again, it's an expense issue, but it's also, we just, again, do not have the equipment and the expertise to do it. And we're just not in the, we've never been in the concrete paving business.
So when the city initially put down most of the major streets, which were laid in concrete, that was a one-shot deal? I mean, again, as the example of Sherman Oaks Avenue was 1928, and it lasted up until this week.
Right. I think in the distant memory and the conversation with all the folks that have been here a long time that have had discussions with, we have never, going back 30, 40 years, we've never had the ability to repave in concrete. That's correct. So the answer to your question is yes. I don't know if they foresee it as a one-time deal, but that's the way it's turned out.
Okay, and maybe we have time for a couple questions here, and then we're going to turn the place over to the audience. Parking.
Yes.
Parking? Okay. Common question, if you can please comment. Good thing we have a sound engineer here. Question for parking is, a lot of Sherman Oaks is restricted parking, residential parking only. Common complaint is people park over the time limit and nothing happens to them, and therefore they park more over the time limit because there's no enforcement. What should people do, and is there really enforcement?
Can you specify, are you speaking about preferential parking or just time?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Hold it close. Hold it close.
Hold it real close. There we go. Most of that has to do with the amount of staff that we have and the beat areas that they're working. Officers do come through and they chalk vehicles. We can't get to all neighborhoods at all times. If you do have neighborhoods that do need more attention or you're having chronic violators, by all means, we'll provide the numbers for you to call. Get a hold of a supervisor and make sure that an officer comes back through and follows up. There are some technological advances that we're going to have. I get training on that one actually tomorrow. I don't know if any of you have seen our new cars that we have. We have very few of them, but they have 4 cameras on them. Those are our LPR, license plate recognition vehicles. Those vehicles are capable of going through a neighborhood at 25, 30 miles an hour and recognizing your license plates. They will be able to mark your vehicles for 2 hours. check your vehicles for being stolen, and also for unpaid parking citations. Only if you're only over 5. 5 delinquent parking citations, and then obviously the boot or the tow would come after that. Those are one of the innovations that we're going to use to try and increase in some of those neighborhoods, especially along Ventura Boulevard. We know the 2-hour zones and the preferential parking zones are an issue. If you're not getting as much enforcement as you would like, feel free to call the station and have the supervisor follow up. I work the night shift, you won't get me, but if you have an issue at night, I know a lot of the restaurants and valets like to park in your neighborhood. I'm your guy. So if you need nighttime enforcement, by all means contact me or the station during the day. We can resolve your issues. That's not a problem.
Another,
Okay, if you give me your cell number, and I won't tell anyone.
No, you won't get my cell, but you'll get my desk.
Okay, one question over here for building safety. We hear so many complaints of bootlegging. And I know in other cities, they actually patrol to see if people are bootlegging in construction projects. What is the city's policy? I mean, is it just on a complaint basis?
We operate, bootlegging, as he's talking about, is doing construction without getting your permits first. And yes, we do operate on a complaint basis on that. You can turn a complaint in, as I mentioned earlier. You can call 311, or you can do it online at ladbs.org, and we will go out and address it and make sure they get the permits. Okay.
With that, we'd like to thank all our speakers, but the important part of the meeting is now your opportunity to come up and talk with these people individually. We ask you to clean up the table, and we look forward to seeing you next month, the debate between the various candidates. Thank